Yo, Russ really said music died the day the iPod did. And before you laugh, hear him out, right? Because he might actually be cooking. He said in so many words, nobody makes music for iPods anymore, and that's the actual problem. And quick recap for the people who were doom scrolling and missed it. Russell's whole point back in the iPod days, the iPod Nano days specifically, was artists built projects front to back, no skips, because you had limited storage and you had to actually want the albums enough to put it in your pocket. Obviously, some little bro in the reply said, "Ain't your phone basically an iPod though?" Valid question, not gonna lie. And Russ basically hit him back with "You're a little slow," which is genuinely one of the most big cousin responses of the year.
What I mean when I say people stop making music for iPods and that's why a lot of music sucks, what I mean is the iPod used to be a destination for music and that was it. And now music is not consumed as a standalone art form anymore. It's consumed as content within this broader digital ecosystem that is your phone. And so as a creative, it's like, okay, well, now that this is just one tab of hundreds of tabs, right? Music is not competing with other music. You're competing to survive this attention economy. Your song is competing for attention up against, Messi scoring a goal, LeBron maybe signing to a new team, somebody getting their fucking head blown off. That celebrity couple is dating. What happened on Love Island? Who said what? That's crazy. They should cancel. It's psychotic. And so I empathize with artists who stopped making music for listeners and started making music for platforms and for attention. But we got to get back to just making music for the iPod that now no longer exists. Bring back iPods. Still got mine though.
But stay with me, because that clapback is doing a lot of heavy lifting philosophically. He's not saying the hardware is different. He's saying the intent behind it is different. iPod basically equals you loaded music onto this device on purpose. You curated it, you synced it, right? You committed, right? But the phone, the iPhone, the algorithm just loads the music for you. You didn't pick the playlist necessarily, the playlist picked it for you. The ownership energy versus the rental energy. That's the whole ball game right there. This is where Hello Yusin, who's been in the music Twitter trenches forever, he actually an actual respected voice, by the way, I will say. This is basically when he hopped in on the discourse and he tweeted, "The device was never the point. The incentive was." So now you've got Russ and you got a certified music culture voice, both pointing out the same exact mechanism. That can't be a coincidence. That's a pattern. Now, I personally believe that constraint breeds craft, right? The iPod Classic or the iPod Nano Classic or even the iPod Shuffle, they held like about a few thousand songs max, right? You had to actually choose what made the cut. That's the curation part, right? Now with the iPhones and Apple Music and TikTok and Spotify and shit like that, like it's an infinite skip, it's an infinite scroll, it's an infinite next song. It's like zero commitment required to hear any song nowadays. And when skipping costs literally nothing, artists stop building albums and they start building clickbait shit. Damn near just TikTok driven shit, right? The first 5 seconds got a hit or the algorithm absolutely is gonna bury you, bro. That's not a vibe. That's a business model. Even when you compare how a hook gets written now versus 2007, it's not, the take the listener on a journey anymore. It's the give the algorithm a reason not to skip in 4 seconds. That's the entire difference that Russ is talking about. And I actually respect Russ's point in this because it's very valid. Russ isn't talking about theory, he's talking about autobiography. All right. From 2011 to 2014, this man dropped like 11 full albums and dozens of singles one at a time, all free, all self produced before he ever even blew up, right? That's not a SoundCloud Flex story. That's an iPod era work ethic, which he clearly had, and it worked out for him. He executed it during the actual streaming era as well. He built his whole fan base off of making complete bodies of work when nobody was watching. So when he says, the industry lost that instinct, he's not being a bitter old head. He has the receipts. He is the receipt. He knows exactly what he's talking about because he went through it. He went through the transition. And obviously this is the third argument that I'd say that would probably end the whole debate. The data is agreeing with him in real time as well. Like iPods are back, bro. And not ironically, they're actually back. Like the resale numbers for iPod Nanos and iPod Shuffles are actually up, and it's young people specifically buying 15-year-old iPods on purpose. And you might say, why is that? Because they want the friction. They want to choose the 12 songs going in their pocket instead of just letting an algorithm feed them whatever the fuck pops up and keeps them scrolling for another 30 more seconds. And no, that's not nostalgia, right? That's a whole generation quietly agreeing with Russ's thesis with their wallets. They're going back in time and they're paying for older products just to, have certainty. You could even say with the radio era singles, they were literally created to hold up on replay value on an album, right? Sitting next to 11 or 12 or 13 other songs that had to hang together cohesively to have that replay value. But the modern, algorithm bait is built to hold up for one scroll. That's about it. That's the gap between, this song is good enough to own and this song is good enough to not skip. You know what I mean? Like the bar is in hell, bro. Like that's like one of my favorite, sayings. The bar is in hell. Right? The low bar versus the high bar. That's it. That's the whole tweet, honestly. So in conclusion, bro, when Russ says that that's the problem, he's not being precious about MP3 players. He's not trying to hold on to nostalgia. He's naming the actual mechanism. When the format changes who the music is for, the algorithm instead of the person who owns the device, the incentive to make a cohesive body of work quietly dies. And once that incentive is gone, you don't get less music. You actually get more of it. Just less of it survives past the little scroll that you make on TikTok. The iPod slander in his replies was the L take. I think the timeline just hasn't caught up yet, you know? But let me know what you guys think in the chat. Are y'all team Russ or are y'all team algorithm? Let's argue about it down below. It's your boy Word Dude. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.